How do I tell my 23F girlfriend, 24F, she smells without hurting her feelings? Let me premise this by saying, I love my girlfriend. I absolutely do. Before we even started dating, we have been best friends since the age of 12. We met in high school and immediately clicked. She's my person, my soulmate, the love of my life. I'll admit, the romantic side to our relationship is pretty fresh. We only started actually dating this year, after knowing each other for 12 years, and secretly being in love with each other but too afraid to say anything about it for 3. So, I love my girlfriend, but she smells. I first noticed her smell in high school, a mix between really bad BO and that horrible damp smell clothes that have been left in the washing machine overnight. It didn't bother me back then. Not really. I knew that her family wasn't the wealthiest, and to be honest, I mostly just felt sorry for her. I knew that she wasn't allowed to wash her clothes as frequently as she should have been, all to save money, or that she skipped showers sometimes to save on the water bill. I had tried in the past to subtly get her to use my deodorant, or get her to spray my perfume on herself during school, but her smell never seemed to bother her, at least outwardly, and she certainly never said anything about it. In fact, she didn't seem to really be aware of it, so I tried to not let it bother me, and over time I got used to her smell. In fact, I completely stopped noticing it. Over the years, other people have asked me about it, or have mentioned her smell, and I shrugged them off. I really had stopped noticing it. But here's the problem. We recently moved in together. Finally, after years of dreaming about being roommates and talking about all the cool stuff we'd have in our apartment when we'd finally get our own place, we did it. It's small, and we share a bedroom, something we didn't originally plan on doing, as our romantic relationship is so new and we thought it might be best for us each to have our own space. Plus, we hadn't planned on telling our parents about the level up, shall we say, of our relationship, something that is now no longer an issue. They're very supportive. It was my mom who first pointed out the funky smell lingering in our new place. She was coming to visit for the first time since we moved in. When my mother, God bless her, blurted out, "This place absolutely stinks," upon first stepping foot inside, I was immediately irritated and embarrassed on my girlfriend's behalf. My mom has been pointing out my GF's smell for pretty much the entirety of our knowing each other. I told her that my GF's family was poor and basically everything I've told you guys, and she was sympathetic, though she did continue to bring it up over the years. Noticeably, whenever my GF stayed a night at our house, my mom would always insist on changing my bed sheets after she left, and airing out my room, lighting incense or putting on our diffusers once she'd officially departed. She didn't want me to smell, or our house. I genuinely believe this was just a slip of the tongue on my mother's part, and that she did not mean to potentially humiliate my GF or upset me. But the damage was done. I had become aware of the smell again. The house did smell, and badly. Oh, damp clothes. The same smell that had followed my GF around all throughout our teenage years. Now that I was aware of it once again, I was embarrassed. I've always prided myself on my cleanliness and personal hygiene. To me, smelling good and being clean is important. But now our new home smelled just like my GF. We've had people over since my mom, and I know they noticed the smell also. It's in the quick crinkle of their noses as they step foot inside, or the housewarming gift of expensive fragrant candles and essential oils. My mom even offered to buy us our own diffuser. My first thought of action was to attempt to get rid of the smell, obviously. I washed my girlfriend's clothes with the best-smelling detergent I could find, still packed in a suitcase and yet to be properly hung up. I told my girlfriend I just felt like doing laundry. She didn't seem to care, and wasn't bothered by my haul out of her suitcase. She just wore my stuff. Next, I lit some of the many gifted candles to make the house smell a bit better. There's pretty much always one burning when we're home. It helped a lot. The house definitely smells a lot nicer than before. But here's the thing. My girlfriend still smells. I know she uses deodorant. I can see her using it each morning. And we've showered together plenty of times since we started dating. She definitely washes herself properly, soap and all, so I don't understand where the horrible BO smell is coming from. Washing her clothes helped a lot with a damp smell. But since the first time I washed them, they've started to smell damp again. I told her if she accidentally forgets to take out her laundry and they still smell, she can just rewash them. It wasn't a big deal and money wasn't a factor. And she agreed. But that's pretty much the extent that came from that. Since I started noticing the smell again, I'll admit, I've been a little turned off. Sexually speaking, I love my girlfriend and our sex life is great. No, it's awesome. But I find myself not wanting to have sex with her smelling the way she does. In order to not hurt her feelings by saying anything, I started orchestrating us showering together as a kind of foreplay. That's helped a lot, but in the heat of the moment we don't always shower beforehand. And without being needlessly cruel or too grossly descriptive, going down on her without a shower beforehand is just out of the question. Her smell was never a deal-breaker, so to speak, in the past. But now that we're dating and having sex, I can't go back to just ignoring it. I'm not going to break up with her over this. No way. But something's gotta give. So Reddit, I need your help. How do I tell my girlfriend that she needs to start taking better care of her personal hygiene, without seeming like the world's worst girlfriend and, generally speaking, a total asshole? TL Drive. My girlfriend has always had terrible BO and bad personal hygiene. And now that we're dating, it's affecting our romantic, sexual relationship. How do I get her to take better care of herself without being cruel or needlessly hurting her feelings? She could have something going on with any number of places on her body and, like the other commenters are pointing out, she's likely lived with the smell for so long that she doesn't notice. Hear me out. Sulfur soap. It's a harsh soap and should not be used daily. One time. See if it helps. Read the labels. I work with homeless, abused, and neglected children and teens, and very often, we have youngsters come in with a history of bad hygiene. They just have a smell, no matter how many times they shower or bathe. Sometimes we ask them to bathe with a bar of sulfur soap and that usually clears things up. I actually knew someone that had an odor for what seemed like her entire life. When she was in her 20s, she said she found out she had some kind of fungus. I don't remember details, but maybe it's something biological. If she is showering properly, brushing her teeth, and washing her clothes, and she still smells, and has since high school, I suspect something medical is going on. I'd encourage her to see her physician and delicately bring it up. If she's lived with it her whole life, I'm sure she doesn't even notice it. It doesn't sound like an issue of not taking care of herself. You're doing her laundry and said she's showering regularly and properly. Something else is going on. Maybe a weird question, but does she have any kind of medical condition that might be affecting her sense of smell? If not, then it may just be that she's grown so accustomed to the smell that she doesn't notice it anymore. I think what you need to do is have a talk with her, kindly and tactfully, to let her know what's going on. Tell her that it doesn't affect the way you feel about her, that she's still the most important person in your life, etc. It will be difficult for her to hear, I imagine, but if it's brought up the right way, hopefully she'll understand. Is she showering daily? Does she change her clothes and shoes daily? If it's affecting you this much, you gotta address it. It's going to be painful and awkward, and it's going to hurt her feelings no matter what you say. So it's best to just approach it directly and honestly. If I ever have a hanging booger, I may be embarrassed if it's pointed out, but grateful it was so I could rectify it. Either she's not showering enough or her deodorant is not strong enough. She may also be re-wearing clothes not thinking they smell, but they actually do. If she's showering regularly and wearing clean clothes, then something medical is up and she needs to get checked out. It could be something she eats. Certain people sweat out different scents based on the foods that they eat. A change in diet could be helpful if that's what's causing the problem. Could be yeast buildup. Also, I read recently on some subreddit about people with deep belly buttons who had no idea they were supposed to be cleaned. Despite showering regularly, they stunk and couldn't figure out why, and then they cleaned out their filthy gunk-filled belly buttons and alleviated their stench. That smell in the clothes is difficult to get rid of. Masking it with scented detergent will only go so far. And I personally can't stand strongly perfumed detergents and scented candles. So I would be bothered both by the smell in the detergent and the candles in your apartment. To get rid of the smell, soak the clothes in vinegar. Get gallons of cheap vinegar and let the clothes sit in it for 15 minutes before you wash them. Make sure every single fiber is soaked. The smell comes from sulfuric compounds and the acid will break them apart. Instead of just masking them like detergent does, the vinegar won't harm the clothes. Before you do that, clean the washing machine. Run it empty on the highest temperature with a generous scoop of detergent with bleach. There are also special tablets you can get to deep clean a washing machine. Then always leave the door of the machine open to let it air out. Bacterial vaginosis can have very mild, almost unnoticeable symptoms except a smell. This could be another potential medical condition she has that she has either gotten used to or doesn't notice. The good news is, it's very easily fixed with a course of antibiotics. Some people have an issue with body odor, and it's medical, and showering deodorant doesn't really help. She should check out a dermatologist. Just tell her nicely and she'll probably appreciate it long term. One of my family members had the same issue, but they started going to the dermatologist and that fixed it. Look into trimethylaminutia. It's a disease that is digestive based. If she is clean and still smells, it may be the issue. I think other people have addressed some of the health stuff that could be going on, but I think not properly addressing the laundry could be contributing to it. I'd recommend borax and baking soda. Maybe do some research on these. Also, more detergent is not better. It will build up and ruin clothes. High-efficiency washers should be avoided. Clothes can be washed, but if there's a ton of mildew, the smell will come back. This is where borax will help. If your girlfriend has a lot of athletic clothes, these can keep smells differently. Look up an enzyme detergent. I think I also read that these should not be put in the dryer. Make sure you have a good mattress cover and are properly washing your sheets, too. Good luck! I watched a documentary on fishy odor syndrome. The woman in the documentary definitely knew about her smell, but I can't remember if other people told her or what. I believe it was also worse on her period. Not sure that's what is going on with your girlfriend, as you didn't say it's fishy. https www.medicine.com/fish odor syndrome trimethylaminuria/article.htm. I assume that the smell is coming from her, not from her clothes being mildewed or otherwise unclean. I dated a guy once who routinely left his clothes in the washer for too long before drying them, and he often smelled mildewy. But that was an easy fix. The conversation itself will be tricky, but be as kind and gentle as possible. It will probably be helpful if you write out what you want to say in advance and practice it a few times. As for what she should do, it seems like it's almost certainly a medical issue and she should start with her primary care doctor. Info: how long after a shower does she start to smell again? Not to sound like a commercial, but washing clothes after being worn for a long time won't remove the smell entirely. Try Borax 20 Mule Team name brand with the detergent that removes smell. I have dogs, and that helps remove urine smell in carpet. You have a little bit of an out here. Tell her you always assumed the smell would go away if she had better access to a washing machine. When it didn't, you became surprised and concerned for her health and have been trying to figure out how to bring it up since. It isn't entirely a lie, as you had always blamed her Bo on poverty. It's just emphasizing parts of the story dishonestly to save her feelings a little bit. Years ago, my friend went through this with her boyfriend. We were pretty young and he was living kinda rough with his grandma, but the major problem was he drank every day and would just pass out in drunk sweat all night, then get up the next day and repeat. He was cool AF and very well liked, but all his friends knew about the smell. They told her that she would have to tell him. She did tell him and it went easier than she expected. With him also, the clothes were a major factor which she started maintaining for him. So once the clothes were under control, she encouraged him to shower daily and everything was fine after that. Hopefully it will go as smoothly with your GF.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.